I think that comfortability is detrimental. I think that's kind of what I live my life by. I think, and recently I just heard this saying that life is supposed to be in threes, I think. I'm trying to remember what it is. Like it's either supposed to be, it's a third two, it's supposed to be a third crappy, a third okay, and like a third good. And so, like, I think these
Okay.
things are just kind of what I run my life along. Is like, if everything's too easy, I gotta like bump up this challenge. Like, I gotta find something, or I gotta look at like what I'm doing. I'm not pushing myself enough, or if I'm just like falling to pieces, I need to go down and like take care of myself. I think you should always keep it pushing, and then once in a while, just send it. I think.
Welcome to Outside is Magic, a podcast about the intersection of creativity and the outdoors. I'm your host, Christopher San Augustine, a creative director and the founder of Broken Coastal, a studio rooted in storytelling, design, and community. This week, I'm joined by my friend Serena Rio. She's an artist, designer, and all-around creative badass who's not afraid to chase what scares her. We talk about fear, growth, and what it means to show up for yourself, even when it feels super uncomfortable. Before we dive in, if you're enjoying these conversations, the best way to support this show is to subscribe, leave a comment, and share with a friend. All right, let's jump in. I was going to ask you this question later on in the interview, but I think we could just jump in. And I was going to say something that I always admired about you is your sense of adventure, but all the trips you take and all the friendships that you make, and just like how you kind of navigate through your adventures, meeting new people and putting yourself out there. I feel from a distance, like looking at that and also being around you when you've been on trips and stuff. It's just kind of cool for me to see that. And I'm kind of curious, have you always been that way? Been able just to kind of go out on your own and just kind of navigate these spaces and
No,
make,
I used to be like a mass. I'm still kind of so like introvert, extrovert. Those aren't like that's not a very hard line binary. So it's like kind of more like a spectrum. And so I would probably like an extrovert introvert. So I love talking to people, but my battery gets drained super fast, and then I need to go be by myself. I get real grouchy real quick too when my battery's done. It can kind of turn into a bit of a bitch. Excuse my French. But, I think growing up, I've just always done what you do and take on something that scares me or I notice about myself that is, just not something to my liking, my personal preference, and so worked on moving outside my comfort zone and then, like, talking to more people, and then I got really obsessed with making friends. I got really obsessed with I love people so much. I think they're so fascinating. I love how different they are, the different perspectives that they bring to the table and talents and, like, even just, like, morals. I think
yeah,
between cultures, I think is so fascinating, which is kinda what brought me into psychology. But I that's a huge part of it, I think, was mostly curiosity is what fuels me mostly.
yeah. Do you have any advice for people trying to step outside of their comfort zone?
Just do it. I know that's like my guy friends are like, "Just send it." But
Yeah.
I think what you do is the first step is to just identify these, like, bad patterns that you have of just, like, your immediate avoidance, for example, of your portfolio review, and then kinda just lean into it. I mean, you could weigh, like, really honestly, what's the worst that could happen, and then weigh that against like that's the worst that could happen. Well, let's go try it and see and find out. And you can take baby steps. This is also different people with like, for example, mental disorders or like extreme phobias. Then maybe working on the
Yeah.
professional first could help.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're not
identifying
an
those
island.
patterns and maybe writing them down every time you notice you do something. I know this helps
Yeah.
me. That way you kind of have like a mental record and then also like a physical record and you kind of see like, oh, why did I make that excuse or why did I not go to that event or something?
And dude, just even writing it down, the physicality of it helps change your neuroplasticity in your brain and like all the neural pathways. And then that's how you kind of expedite the way of now I don't even think about it. I just do it, which is kind of how I changed.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you keep a journal or
I
take
do.
notes and stuff? Yeah.
I love journals. It's so fun. And you can be really honest with yourself too. So it's kind of hard to look at those words and
Yeah. Do you keep them when you're done with a book or do you just
I
discard
know
them?
I actually use a well, now it's a live journal. I don't know if you remember those. It was like a big back, I don't know how old you are, but probably like 15 years ago. It was like a big, I think it was like a big online community where it was just like almost like the pre-Tumblr
Hmm.
where you just like wrote stuff down and people commented on it. Mine was all private. And so like that was just
Oh,
kind of
okay.
my actual journal. So I could access it anywhere.
Oh,
Um,
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so I have them from middle school, it's crazy.
wow, that is crazy.
I'm an idiot then.
I Yeah, I used to keep all of my journals, and then when I moved from New York to Portland, I threw them away because I know. I was moving so much, and you know how it is. It's books are so heavy, and I don't know. There was something about it, just letting go of it, you know?
That's fair. It was symbolic for you, you know? I do this weird
Yeah.
ritual where I, like, will send them or take them home with me to my parents' house because I have the privilege of having a parent, like, our old childhood home,
Yeah.
and so I just stash them there, and then
There you
hopefully they'll
go.
be there. Doesn't burn down or nothing, and hopefully one day I'll come back for them.
Yeah. I'm starting a new thing where I got a bunch of postcards made, and I'm gonna just start sending postcards to people. So, I'll have
Yeah!
to get
Can
your
I get
address.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah!
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the goal is to eventually, when I do zines again or launch my web store, I'll give people postcards, like pre-stamped in the packages to encourage people to like write a friend they haven't talked to in a long time. I think that'd be kind of a special thing for people to start doing.
Of course, and then you get this, like, little, like, handheld memento.
Yeah.
It's, like, such high value. It's something
Yeah.
to cherish and, like, have put on your fridge. It's so
Yeah. I backpacked recently with my buddy Adam, and we were talking about this, and he was thinking the same thing, and we were talking about how cool it'd be to have a website kind of like Tumblr, where you'd send these postcards out to people, and they would send them to people, and they would take pictures of the actual messages, like what they actually wrote. Of course, you blur out the names, but then post those on the website, so you just have like these very intimate messages that people have shared to people all on this website, so people can read them and just kind of see. I think it'd be a pretty cool experiment just to see what people write and share,
yeah. I mean, people love that, honestly. You can see
especially
and dig in
now.
social media, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, the whole, like, renaissance of just, like I think just, like, their analog stuff is coming back because everyone just
Mhm.
is oversaturated with all this technology. I think that'd be a great I used to do something like that in art. I went to art school in Brooklyn also, but I always belonged to this can't even remember what I think it was a website or a club, and you would put your mailing address in and your name and not no picture or anything, and someone would send you something, and then you would get an
Yeah.
address to send them to, like, another person something, a
Yeah.
stranger. So I have all these, like, little just, like, card stuff things from, like, complete strangers. They're so cute, but you
Yeah.
don't know this
Yeah, we gotta bring
person.
that back. I love that.
I have to look up and see what that was. I forgot what it was.
Alright, I'm gonna jump around because I do wanna ask this question, and again, just watching from afar and seeing your progression on the mountain bike to me is just literally mind-blowing. Like, I seeing those videos of you riding at Port Gamble, literally just what the heck? Because I
Thank
rode
you.
there 2 months ago with my buddy Jorge, and I rode the smaller line, and we were eyeing the bigger line,
Hell
and
yeah.
Jorge would have hit it. I wasn't into it. I was like, "I wouldn't do this for $1,000,000." And I'm just curious, how did you get there? How have you progressed so fast and just kind of, I guess, conquered your fears and just believe in yourself that you could just ride all these massive jumps?
Well, it's
Because I know
like the
your journey
same
hasn't been that long. It's only been a few years.
I mean, I've been mountain biking probably since probably like, I don't know, almost 8 years now, though.
Mhm.
But it started off as like cross when I moved to the Bay, but that's not even the point. It's exactly the same as everything else in life. And like, could you in a million years think you would have started a podcast?
Yeah, it's true.
And it's all baby steps and then identifying what you need to improve upon and then like targeting it, jumping in, like just send it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I in a million years probably wouldn't have thought I would have hit that 2 years ago. And
Mhm.
then you just kind of start doing bigger and bigger things, and all of a sudden you can kind of imagine it, and then you do it, and
Yeah.
I'm terrified, of course,
Yeah.
and I like to verbalize it too. I'm like talking a bunch and being like, "Holy shit, like I'm so scared." Helps to have people there that you trust and you can follow sense of camaraderie, and then you just send it. But it was such a God, there's no better feeling. And I think like there's something about mountain biking that's so tangible with that too, that it kind of is just like an actual manifestation of you making this podcast or just overcoming and like combating a lot of fears. Cause so much of it's mental too. Those jumps
Yeah.
are so easy. And that's what,
Yeah.
the good people say to the
Yeah.
people that
Easier than the small ones
it's
for sure.
chill. But I honestly think they're easier than the small ones, and, like, it's so much of a mental battle, and once you can overcome that, God, that's such a good feeling. I think that's why it's so addicting mountain biking. I know I'm not gonna be a pro or anything anytime soon. For me, it's just like a
Yeah.
really fun hobby.
For me, there's like a very clear line of risk. I'm very comfortable at hitting jumps blind to a certain extent or whatever, and then there's this clear line in my head where I'm like, this is like the next level. Again, yeah, it's all mental because the skills are there. It's purely mental. And I'm wondering, do you have that line or is it just
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
If I can't visualize myself doing it, I don't do it, but like, whole span is getting bigger and bigger, like, as I keep riding. I've been riding for so long now, and, when you watch someone else do it too, you're like, "Oh, actually, that looks manageable," and then
Mhm.
next thing you know, I mean, this is a even, you kinda get into trouble eventually
Yeah.
doing some stupid stuff, but it's just so addicting overcoming these, like, fears and these
Yeah.
challenges, you kinda just keep climbing that mountain, I can't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, what's your relationship with fear?
So, well, that's interesting because I'll probably write my thesis on it.
Okay.
I love it though. I am an adrenaline junkie, self-proclaimed, but I love scary. I'm actually terrible at scary movies, but they're my favorite. I can't watch Paranormal Activity. Like I get too scared and nothing happens in that entire movie. Like it's the worst movie ever. But I think overcoming it and like feeling that adrenaline rush, it's so like in the moment, it's so visceral that you can't you don't encounter that any other time in your life, you know? Almost everything else seems so mundane. I mean, that's just spoken like a true adrenaline junkie. I mean, and
Yeah.
it took me a while to realize not everyone shares that passion because I used to bully people into doing stuff that they didn't wanna do. I've since I feel like I've since but, like, for example, what's yours, you know? Like, just to even do Iceman, that line, that's pretty scary.
My fears are I mean, I have different kinds of fears. I was really interested when I asked Chris Burkhardt about fear because he goes on so many crazy adventures and the fears I've been dealing with lately are living in Oregon now where I have access to being, completely by myself in the middle of nowhere. Growing up in the Bay Area, I just wasn't exposed to that. Like fear for me would have been me and my friends hopping on BART, pedaling our BMX bikes through East Oakland and, getting chased by a bunch of kids who would have beat us up and took our bikes, and maybe our shoes and stuff. And now I'm faced with this whole other aspect of driving an hour down a forest road with no one around and then, mountain biking for 15 miles by myself. And he had a really good antidote of just saying, just do it scared. And
Yeah.
that's something I've been kind of working on. And this last weekend, I went on this really big backcountry mountain bike ride in the Gifford Pinchot. Again, like super, super out there. Got way up high on a ridge. And yeah, something about being up there in the mountains with the wind howling and no one around, like not a single person on these mountains. And I think all the senses were just firing, every little thing. And yeah, so that's the fear I've been dealing with recently, or at least one of the fears. Um, yeah, I've been just trying to put myself in those positions more and more.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds honestly, I think it's healthy also.
Yeah.
Helps you regulate your nervous system, and then when you're encounter like, when you encounter it more, you can deal with it a lot better, practice. But once I don't know, you're scared is going to East Bay. It's true.
I mean, we're talking about when I'm like 12 years old.
Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, it's real.
We're
I feel like
like
that's a
pooling
different
our
kind
money
of fear,
together
though.
to get on, yeah, pooling our money together to get on BART, splitting some dollar tacos from Jack in the Box,
Sounds
not telling
about
our
right.
parents where we are, pre cell phones.
Trying to sneak
We
back into
used to
the
get,
house.
we would get chased all the time. Yeah, that was scary.
Hey, that's the best interval training, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I feel like it was pretty normal to go on our BMX rides in Berkeley, Oakland, and we would get chased a lot of people literally trying to jack us for our bikes.
Yeah.
So
Different kind of cultures, man. I mean, I used to go into New York. We used to train hop to go into New York. And by that, I mean just like run from the conductors on the
yeah,
public train. It's
yeah,
probably like 16. And then we pretend to go graffiti riding in New York. I was such a
yeah.
toy, but it was so fun.
I
I don't know why.
remember we used to skip BART all the time or hop the turnstile. And I remember one time we were in like that Mount Diablo area.
Oh,
Forget what it's called.
that's where I got hurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We got handcuffed. by the bar police to the benches.
Oh,
They straight up
did you
handcuffed us.
did you get away or did you get
No, we got handcuffed. I don't even remember
I've
what
seen
happened.
some
I think they called our
videos.
parents and we got tickets or something. Yeah. Yeah, it was scary.
Was that the end of your bad boy days?
No, I mean, we did that stuff forever. So how did art show up in your life? Where did that thread begin?
That was since day 1. I now I realize it was ADHD, but I couldn't concentrate
Mhm.
in class, and so I needed something else to do, and I started drawing a lot, just sketching. Somehow I still managed to pay attention, and get good grades, but I just kept drawing and I loved it, and then I started joining forums online. This is back in the day. I joined this, like, Powerpuff Girls forum. I don't know if you know that cartoon.
Yeah.
Um, and I even made, like, a little Powerpuff Girl avatar, and it was actually so perfect because you it was such, like, a rudimentary visual of the human form that I could learn so fast at it, and then that just kinda kept me going. I drew, like, posters for, like, Save the Animals, got into anime, started drawing anime, and then kept going from there. I think eventually when I moved to the Bay, I was like, "I wanna try murals." And that's when Gina and Sean from King Cog were still together. Sure, what's his last name? Not Wolf, the other one. Anyway, so they were like, "Yeah, we'll give you this Thompson seat dropper post for if you paint the rad cover on our walls." And I that was my first time doing it, and I kind of fell in love with that also. Uh,
That's cool.
guess. Yeah. I mean, I
Is
went to
it
art school too, so that was a big thing.
Yeah. Is there a moment in your earlier life that looking back now maybe really affected your art career, not your art career, but just how you've approached art? Like did someone or some event or something that you made?
I think I loved it a lot. I went eventually Yeah, but this is so much later. I think that I didn't take art seriously until I went to this it was called Black Magic Mountain at the time, but it was this artist residency in North Carolina, and it was just so it was their first year, so it was so, like, I don't know if it's unhinged, but it was also, like, beautiful, creative, and just, like, organic, and it was started by this graffiti artist and his wife. There was some controversy with it later, but I think they say that there's a vortex in those mountains, in the North Carolina mountains in Asheville, and I don't know, just saw art in a different way of just, like, a way for it to actually, like, express yourself and to be authentically you, and I don't know, but prior to that, it was a lot of cartoons and, like, just drawing and a way to release a lot of, I don't know, mental stimulation,
Yeah.
but I
And
think
so
yeah.
what triggered you to go to art school then?
I didn't know what else I wanted to do. Yeah. I mean, I wanted to be in New York, and so I applied to Pratt Institute and got in. And I would later get hit by a car, and so it didn't really pan out my last year. But yeah, I mean, so much growth, and it was something I was good at, and it was something that I could spend hours doing and like lose myself in. And so I don't know what else I would have done, honestly. Everything else just seemed so silly.
Yeah. Did you get what you wanted out of art school?
No, does anyone? No, I'm just joking. I think, yeah, I learned just like the experience of college, but like in New York City. So I think just growing up in more developmental years just in New York City was kind of eye opening for me and transformed me probably into a more outgoing person. You know, New York could see you turn into an asshole pretty much. You
Yeah.
learn to stand up for yourself. You get exposed to a lot of social interactions with strangers, so fleeting too. And I think just New York City has such a crazy culture. Like you could do anything you want at any hour of the night in New
Yeah.
York City. You know, if you want to go do hackathons or like build Arduinos, which I got into, there's like a whole crew for
Cool.
that. Or I fell in with like these little graffiti kids and I started running around. I started selling drugs for a while. Like we built bikes. I was in with the Chicken Hut crew and we did like bike kill. I don't know if you know what that is.
Mhm.
You know, and I just like could put my hands in all these different pots all at the same time. And it was just so
Yeah.
formative, I think, for me, 'cause that's I still do that. I have my hands in way too many things.
Yeah, yeah. I know New York comes up a lot in these podcasts, and I think it for good reason. just because it's one of those cities. I mean, to me, it's the only city where you go. If you go and live there, gosh, you either swim or sink. And there's just so many amazing people doing amazing things in every level. There, right? There's amazing artists doing their art, but then there's also amazing artists who are good at selling their art. And there's
Yeah,
amazing artists
that's a
who
big difference.
become, yeah, exactly. So it's kind of,
You know?
yeah, it's just cool just seeing. I feel like it's one of the few places, I mean, in America where you could go there and really see that anything is possible.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's one of the few unique cities in the world, I think,
yeah, and
honestly.
just being forced to rub elbows and shoulders with people that you wouldn't otherwise. Gosh, I feel like anybody that's creative or anybody in general should really spend time in a city
Have
like
you
that.
done it?
Yeah, we lived there for
Oh,
6 years.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. When was that?
that was 2010, I believe.
Okay. Oh, I was
Yeah.
still there. Maybe I
Oh,
will
were
one
you?
day. Yeah. Could have been
Yeah,
friends.
2010. We got a sublet in Fort Greene for 3 months, and then we settled in Borum Hill, which was kind of like Borum Hill, Carroll Gardens kind of area in Brooklyn.
Yeah, like back up towards Park Slope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Fort Greene. Wow. Well, because I was
Oh,
right
yeah?
at Pratt, pretty much. I was in Bed-Stuy, but, same difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I left Fort Greene. I forget what the street was called, but it was like the main street that would intersect with that big shopping center train area. Is it Atlantic
Atlantic.
Center? Yeah,
Atlantic,
Atlantic.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember there was a really good pizza spot and there was this really good cupcake store where they had red velvet cupcakes. So good.
Think I know what you're talking about. We didn't go
Yeah, it was
down
just
that
like a
way
little,
too often. Well, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, that's so
yeah,
funny.
that was cool.
I can't see you in New York for some reason.
Well, when I graduated college, it was either LA or New York
Yeah.
because those were the two hubs for motion design. And I didn't drive. I didn't even have a license. So it was New York.
Yeah, shoot, I didn't get my license till I was like 22.
I didn't get mine till I was like 32.
My
I thought I
grandma's
was
like,
never gonna get a driver's license. I thought I was gonna ride my BMX bike for the rest of my life.
"You should." I mean, still,
Yeah.
they all seem to be separate, but were you scared? I'm just worried. I'm just so curious. Were you scared to
I
drive?
I just wasn't interested in it.
Yeah.
I wasn't into being in the mountains. I just wanted to ride my BMX bike and I could just do that everywhere
Oh, you're so ride or
on the
die.
train.
Jones, that's what we named her. From Rad, the movie.
Oh, the your puppy?
Yeah.
That's cute.
Um, that's so cool. Yeah.
How about your art style? You mentioned anime, and I feel like you have a lot of characters in your artwork, and it feels very surreal and colorful. And yeah, how would you describe your art, and how did you develop your style?
I think it's just like an amalgamation of all the crap in my head, but it just takes from so much of like different parts of my life. Just like when I'm doing a painting, it's just like usually just stuff from like the immediate vicinity or like stuff that's happened to me recently. Like when I was living in Skid Row, I used to live at a gallery in Skid Row. It was like a collective gallery called Super Chief. They don't have people living there anymore, but and also that place burned down and they have a new spot. But yeah, that used to reflect so much of my art of just like the homeless population, the houseless population, kind of a lot of trash, the neglect of the city, just the dichotomy of just the rich art community next to it versus Skid Row.
Hmm.
That's probably when I was most developing a lot of my art, but I don't do it as much anymore since I started school. But you can even see in my styles as it begins to progress of just like the different kinds of characters that I did. But usually they tend to be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
style,
I
man.
could see that. Yeah,
I think that's
aggressive and just like unusual. Very just interesting characters.
it's reflection on me probably. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's where it mostly came from. Probably also aggressive anime that I used to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. So you're saying you've kind of paused on your art right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm concentrating more on school and my psychology degree, so I don't have a lot of time. I don't even know why I got a puppy, but it's the best thing I've ever done, I think.
Yeah, I it is for sure.
Puppy dad.
Yeah, I've definitely gone through phases like that too with my art where I just take time.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's your
and I think that's
job,
a
huh?
yeah. Yeah, it is. My job is to be creative to an extent. A lot of what I do though is actually just pretty mindless. Yeah, like if I'm building something, like building an animation or yeah, it's more construction, right? It's just more going through process. Like I know how to make things move. I know how to bring things together. I've developed the intuition to know what the client would want or what the viewer needs to see. And so a lot of that is just, yeah, turn the brain off and just go through the motions. And what I found recently that what I'm more interested in is that earlier phase, the concepting phase, where you get to dream big and just dream up what you think the thing should be. And then I get really antsy and I have my ADHD kicks in when I have to actually build the thing because it's just not what
Yeah.
I really enjoy.
And you just procrastinate. You sounds like you just need a bunch of interns or something,
Yeah.
and
Well, I
then you
did
could
learn I do have ADHD. So
makes sense.
which yeah, and I haven't taken medicine for it yet, but I am curious to try it.
I
So,
did. I just started it mostly for school because it's literally impossible. Uh,
yeah,
and it's a game changer for sure. It's crazy.
that's what I hear.
Though I'm like so sensitive to drugs that if I take too much, I get kind of crazy. So it's like a
Yeah.
fine line.
Yeah, it's hard too with the medical system. I have Kaiser, and to speak with a therapist and just go through the whole process is just like 1 month at a time, and then if the meeting gets canceled, then you have to put off for another month. And so they have me on antidepressants now to see if that helps. And then the next step was to be try ADHD medicine. And
Hmm.
yeah,
They put
I'm
you
just
in
curious to try it.
SSRIs for what, do you think? Well, they just diagnosed that's such like a switch
Well,
almost.
yeah, I got diagnosed with depression last year.
Yeah.
I think when my brother passed away, I've talked about this in the past, but when my brother passed away, I think it just triggered a lot of things. And yeah, my ability to not concentrate. And it got to the point where my work was really suffering because I just wouldn't do it or I just had a hard time being in it. And I was like, dang, it's really affecting my livelihood and I need to be able to, I need to work. I have to work. I wish I didn't have to work, but yeah, I have to work. So that's really what made me seek help because I've always been anti pharmaceuticals. I'm not really into pharmaceuticals at all. But yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's helped, to be honest. I got to get back into the system and talk to a therapist again, see.
Well, that would probably help the most,
Yeah.
maybe. Or your therapist? I'd love to be, honestly.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Sounds like you need a lot of exercise too.
Yeah, that helps.
Maybe
Like
you gotta
having
go
a
back to
good
the
morning
East Bay.
routine. Move back to the East Bay?
And to get
No
some
way.
interval training.
No way. I'm never moving back to
I was
California.
just joking. I also would probably never move back to the Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all that sounds so natural, like in a progression. And I think just don't beat yourself up over it, you know? I
Yeah.
would be more scared if you didn't have some kind of reaction, that you weren't
That's
grieving.
true.
So
Yeah.
being
Yeah, that's
easy on
true.
it.
Do you have any, I guess, kind of talking about morning rituals, do you have any rituals around life or your creative process right now?
I meditate a lot. Actually, that helps
Oh, cool.
my attention span, I've noticed. Your brain's like a muscle, and so you're just kind of training it to
Yeah.
be more attentive, to notice what's going on. I think it helps a lot, helps me sleep, helps me
Yeah.
concentrate. And then I make this crazy amalgamation of just like this concoction of like creatine and protein and collagen and all this stuff in the morning. And then I usually go
Nice.
for a run
Yeah.
just to burn off a lot of energy. Just, I think knowing yourself, especially as you get older, just it helps so much to expedite all this. Nothing gets easier, you just get faster. I think that's Eddie Merckx
Yeah.
said that or something.
Yeah,
But
I run every morning too. It helps a lot. Even if it's just a mile or half a mile or whatever it is, it helps.
anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll sprint too. Also, people never look at you crazier when you're sprinting in public. Everything always gets so scared. What else do I do? And I read the news. I like to look at like what is going on in the world, just so you kind of just stay grounded and in touch.
Hmm.
You know, I used to be able to take the subway in New York, but you can't really do that anymore, especially in such a car culture as California. I guess social media is the next best thing.
Yeah, I recently deleted. I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I would have NPR and Wall Street Journal. I recently just had to delete them all, just because I noticed how much stress it was adding to my life because of just all the fucked up shit that's happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
Growing up in the East Bay, I grew up going to protests at a very young age and really being in that world, and now that I'm older and living here, yeah, I just felt so exhausted lately, and I kind of feel bad about it, but I feel exhausted because the same things keep happening over and over again, right, in our world. Like, all this fucked up shit just happens over and over and over again, and it seems to never change. And I don't know, at this point in my life right now, I just kind of feel a little helpless. And I think, I don't know, maybe this podcast is my little way of protesting and just giving back and putting something positive in the world versus, I don't know, showing up at a protest or something. But
I mean, everyone's got their own ways of coping. I
yeah,
think if it's like the macro, I mean, I think if like the larger global scale is too much, you just work on your like immediate community. And I think this is a great way to do it. You know, there's
yeah,
other podcasts besides NPR too.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I like listening to like Dax Shepard, or I'll listen to, I don't know, like, I don't know, some NPR has ones too. It's just like pop culture and stuff that's just kind of more just like jolly, trivial stuff.
Yeah,
That's also what's happening in the world. I'll listen to yours. Tell me stories.
thanks. Yeah,
You know, there's other ways to give back, and it's just, yeah, it's, I think we just get inundated with so much with the global world that I think just keep making it smaller and more manageable sometimes is a good way for people to take a break.
yeah,
I think
yeah, that's true.
unplugging is probably I feel like unplugging is kind of a privilege thing, and so I have my own qualms with that, but it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I grew up meditating actually. I grew up in a family who meditates, and obviously, as I got older in my teenage years, I rejected it and kind of gone back to it here and there throughout my life, and still not really meditating. But what I have found is when my brother passed away and my good friend Suko passed away, when I go backpacking, I always meditate,
I
like, kind of
mean,
like in their honor. And that's been like a really nice ritual of just using something that I learned in my past, and then, yeah, being disconnected and just being in nature. It's been pretty nice.
I
Yeah.
I mean, that's meditation in a way too. I think it's such a cool
Yeah.
thing that you're doing. I mean, that's also such like a physical manifestation of you starting this podcast. I feel
Yeah.
like, is you going solo backpacking is literally just sending it.
Yeah. That has been my meditation, I found, because it's like really the only activity that I do that forces you to slow down, I feel like, and really be present and like in your thoughts or just being in your environment. Because on the
Yeah,
mountain bike, I could be riding some rad trail in the backcountry and I'm like, I gotta pay my taxes, or gotta how am I gonna pitch this project? And it's because it's such second nature to ride a bicycle. But something about
yeah.
just walking and being there in the moment is different for me, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's serene.
Yeah.
You have to be so intentional too. I find also, which is why I think I like mountain biking so much, is I do a lot better when I turn my brain off. So I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking about what I'm doing. I'm like all over the place. I'm hitting rocks and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
um that's, I think, also a big part of why I like it. And then maybe why it scares me so much about hiking is that you end up having so much time to actually think.
Yeah.
But it's such an that's such an unusual, I feel like, hobby is like solo bikepacking. I mean backpacking. Like,
Yeah.
that is big. You have definitely, like, an intentional motive almost for it. It's definitely it's
It's
good for
it's fun
you.
doing it with friends, but there's something completely different about doing it alone. And same with going on these big backcountry rides alone, because yeah, I think it's something about all your senses are firing because you're kind of in this natural survival mode. There's something about having a friend with you in the wilderness and you instantly feel safe.
Yeah.
And then you remove that, and next thing you know, it's dark and the shadows are like, whoa, what's going on? You hear a little noise. But if a friend's there, you don't even think twice about it. It's
It's
just
a different kind of
so,
fear, man.
yeah. So it's been interesting just to, I guess, force myself in those situations.
Yeah, we're also such social creatures, like, that's almost counterintuitive to our nature, which is so cool. I mean, you bring
Yeah.
the pup, right?
No, I go solo.
Even cooler. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
it's
she's
just
like a little. princess pup. She's not cut out for the woods. Though
Not yet.
she does go trail building with me, and it was super cute. So she got to really know Julie and Mish when we built
No.
this trail last year. And yeah. So whenever Mish comes over or something, Lila goes and runs towards her and stuff. So
No, Lila. I
yeah.
mean, I'm proud of you. I think all these things are like big steps, in your growth. And I feel like even just with this podcast, you've probably grown so much,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing part of your story too. Is there something that, like, what's next for you? Like, what's the next chapter in your life? You're going to school and you're potentially going to move up here.
Yeah, probably keep riding bikes forever, maybe paint more. I mean, honestly, my dream is to become like a like a therapist, mostly for
Hmm.
athletes and artists, people that deviate from the 9 to 5, like
Yeah.
high performance usually too. So, like, how do you deal with fear? How do you perform under pressure? What's your motivation look like? And I think just like working with athletes and my friends and just like how to better themselves, I think I'm really looking forward to that part of my life. I think I've gone through
Yeah.
like stages. And there is, God, I'm so bad at names. They did a Netflix special on him, but there's therapists out there that also incorporate art, not like art therapy, but just like through the
Hmm.
therapy sessions, like how to convey messages or maybe like reach different perspectives. And I'm hoping to like incorporate that too. I don't know. I guess we'll just see what this kind of like new chapter leads me. It's always constantly evolving. I think I usually
Yeah.
get bored of just like repetition anyway. So
How far along are you in your degree?
I have 1 more year until I can officially start. I'll probably just end up working with practices and then
Hmm.
maybe doing like some just like free kind of like pro bono ones for kids in need for a little bit and
Hmm.
then just to get some practice. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love academia too. I love learning. I also love fighting with the teachers.
Yeah. Yeah. Challenging yourself and then challenging the people who are teaching you is definitely important.
Yeah, those around you.
So wrapping up, I asked Mish to ask for a question, and she came up with a funny one. I'll do the PG version. Kiss, marry, kill, mountain bike cities.
I would probably kiss Whistler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could handle marrying it for the rest of my life, though it sounds pretty sick. And
Yeah.
it would have been Squamish, but now it's just so expensive and like
Is it?
isolated.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been there recently. It's just like a bunch of rich townhouses and stuff, and it's changing so fast. I mean, what place isn't, I guess?
Yeah.
If I had to kill one, it'd be Bentonville. Don't tell anyone that.
Yeah. It's probably on everyone's kill list.
I mean, it's definitely
Though I'm
fun.
curious. I want to go.
You should, honestly.
I want to visit Lucas. Yeah.
It's a surreal experience. I've already told him, but it's very like Stepford Wivesy. Like it's almost too perfect. Like there's something
Yeah.
dark and shady going on under here, and I just can't shake
Oh,
that
yeah.
feeling.
For sure.
Not that it's fine. I appreciate all of the trail build. My friends build trails out there too. They're like trail building company, and they like just every day constantly building. Like they can't even build maps. The trails change that much.
Wow.
I'd still kill it, but and then marry? I don't know, because I can't even decide where I'm gonna move right now.
You can
Who
always get
knows?
divorced later.
That's the American way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess right now, maybe Bentonville. I mean, Bellingham, but who knows? Honestly, it might probably end up being out of this country, honestly.
Yeah. I haven't mountain biked out of this country. I'd really like to. Well, besides Canada,
Canada's
but
a
yeah,
different
that's on my
country.
list. We almost moved to Bellingham during COVID, and we like signed a lease on a place and everything, but I just got weird vibes from the landlord. It was just kind of, Bellingham's kind of like,
Yeah.
Toyota Tacomas, flat
Beer,
brim hats, beer,
college.
kind of, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of glad we didn't move,
This
but
is
it
a
would have
man
been
with a flat
sick.
brim hat. And what,
But
that
I don't
ship
know.
just sailed or what happened?
Yeah, it just didn't feel right. And we have such a good living situation here. I didn't want to rip Joy out of her comfort zone to move somewhere that might have not been good. I don't know.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
there's something about mountain biking to me is so precious. Like I'm so grateful when I get to go ride. And I wonder how I'd feel about mountain biking if it was just a like something you could take for granted, you know?
You turn jaded.
I don't know. I just maybe I wouldn't be as special.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it's true. There's also so much other, like, things you can do out there, like the snowboarding's insane, the trail running's
Yeah,
insane, the community is really
true.
cool. I just wish it wasn't so
Yeah.
white, but, you know,
That was another aspect of it
the
too, like
sport
the
is
foods. There was no good Thai food, so that was a big hard no for Doi, being that she's
yeah.
Thai.
Well,
We
and there you
like we
go.
went up and we tested a bunch of places and yeah, this is not good. So
It's kind of a deal breaker, but you could always, like, do date night in Vancouver or something.
yeah, the food in Vancouver is amazing.
It's insane, and then you get to
Yeah.
get the hell out of the country.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, who knows?
Well, the last question is what's one thing that you truly believe in that kind of keeps you grounded in life or work that you want to share with the world?
Wow. I have so many, so many. I think that comfortability is detrimental. I think that's kind of what I live my life by. I think and recently I just heard this saying that life is supposed to be in threes, I think. I'm trying to remember what it is. Like it's either supposed to be it's a third two it's supposed to be a third crappy, a third okay, and like a third good. And so like I think these
Okay.
things are just kind of what I run my life along is like if everything's too easy, I gotta like bump up this challenge. Like I gotta find something, or I gotta look at like what I'm doing. I'm not pushing myself enough, or if I'm just like falling to pieces, I need to
Yeah.
slow down and like take care of myself. But I think you should always keep it pushing,
Yeah.
and then once in a while, just send it. I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that message for sure.
you know. I mean, I can see you're always constantly pushing at the projects, so I think you're one
Yeah.
I never have to worry about. But sometimes, go back and you see your friends doing the same old thing, and you're like, I think
Yeah.
it's time you just sent it.
Well, for me, the challenge has been I get pigeonholed into being just a motion designer. And
See, I didn't even
for
know you were
example,
one.
yeah.
I
Well,
just thought
really?
you were a
Okay.
graphic designer because you're a fantastic graphic designer.
Yeah. So when I moved to New York, I went there for motion design and, I was doing really cool work for MTV, VH1,
Whoa.
list goes on and on and on. And so I'd have this portfolio of all this really shiny work. And that's how I'd get hired by other studios or clients. And then there became a point where I was like, I don't want to do this work anymore. And so part of that process is, well, you go through your portfolio and you have to take away all the work that you don't want to do anymore. And that's super scary because if a client doesn't see you do like the fancy 3D work, maybe they'll just pass over you and not even give you a chance. And now I'm at that chapter again where I don't want to do motion anymore. And I'm at the scary step where I have to push that all away and kind of archive it and enter this new chapter, which I'm reaching for 2026 is like a whole new thing. And it's super scary because, yeah, I don't have like a trust fund to fall back on, right? Like I have to like pay my bills and take care of my family and eventually probably take care of my mom and dad as they're getting older and older. So there's just like all this pressure and it's scary, but
Yeah. But it's
going
worked
for it.
out for you before,
Yeah,
and
it's true.
you're a crafty guy. I think this is going to be a big, beautiful step for you, you know? And if
Yeah.
anything, your work ethic seems super strong. And like, honestly, that's pretty much most of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Well, thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I hope it worked out for you. Sorry to keep
For sure.
rescheduling, but it's been fun. And keep doing what you're doing. I was really
Thanks.
excited to see.
And that's our show for today. If you like this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend. It all really helps out. If you have any questions about creativity, process, or anything we talked about, please drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. You can follow along at Broken Coastal on Instagram and YouTube. Subscribe to my newsletter. It's a weekly dose of inspiration at the intersection of design and outdoors. Thanks for being here.